The following is a presentation of CUTV Sports and CUTV Sports 1.
Hello and welcome to the Gary Dunn Show for September 12th, 2017. I'm your host, Gary Smith. And on today's show, we're going to take a look back at this past weekend's win against Cheney. We're going to take a look at all the scores and standings across the PSAC, the upcoming schedule, and a look ahead to this weekend's opponent. An unfamiliar trip to Millersville, since I think we've only played them about 3-4 times over Millersville. But first, Coach, welcome back in. Another great weekend on the gridiron.
Yeah, great to be back. Had a great weekend for Family Day here at California, and rolling on to the next one.
And I don't know who your contacts are, but whoever you're talking to for the weather for the first two games, keep them on speed dial, because it was another beautiful Chamber of Commerce type afternoon and a beautiful day for college football.
Yeah, really happy with the folks that showed up. You know, we had a lot of alumni in the stands for Family Day. Obviously, a lot of families, some good student groups that I stopped and visited with before the game that were enjoying the tailgating. So it was a nice afternoon at Adamson Stadium. Just glad we can get a win.
And as I was thinking about how to start this show and talk about Cheney, people know me know I'm a big pro wrestling fan, and the only person I could think about, there's a wrestler in the 80s called Ron Garvin. He had a move called the Garvin Stomp, where basically he would stomp, very methodical, stomp on an ankle, knee, hip, elbow, shoulder, head, and around. Nothing fancy, but just kept plowing ahead and then hit a couple suplexes in the move. And that was kind of how the game was on Saturday. You know, ran the ball very well, controlled the clock, had a couple big plays, and, you know, 4 quarters later, get out of there with a win.
Yeah, I thought the offense played well. You know, I think Cheney's game plan was to come in and kind of keep the ball away from us and you know, go 3-step passing and short passing game, and they did a nice job. But I thought the offense, when we had opportunities, made plays. And, you know, we started out, I think the first 3 possessions we scored, and then kind of the big switch in the game was right there at the end of the half. We were able to, you know, with 2 plays, get a scoring drive, and then defense got a big stop and a safety, and before you know, I think it was 34-0 at halftime. Yeah,
it was definitely very sudden. Kind of basically a little bit like the script that you and your team did all last year. It seemed like every game last year you scored right before the half, but it seemed like in the first half, you know, run the ball, control the clock to the red zone, and then just, you know, either a touchdown pass or a big run for the score.
Yeah, we want to be a balanced offense, and we really, I thought Michael did a nice job. Mike Kerr, our quarterback, did a nice job, and Coach Chad Salisbury, our offensive coordinator, of taking what was there. You know, when they outloaded us in the box, we threw it for touchdown passes. I think Mike had 5 touchdown passes, 2 to Tom Green. I think Luke Smorey had 1, Jordan Dandridge had 1. So really taking advantage of what the defense was doing. And that's who we are. That's who we want to be. We're not going to just run it up in there because we want to. We're going to take advantage of how they're playing. And they were loading the box on us down there in the red zone and playing a little bit of cover 0. So, you know, we went to the pass game. And
it was something, if you look at the highlights coming up in a little bit and some of these touchdown passes, great route running, because a couple of the plays, there wasn't a defender within 10 yards of your wide receiver, and that's just great precision.
Yeah, I really like where our wide receivers are. I think we're deeper at that position than a year ago. I think in the next couple of weeks you're going to start to see more guys step up. But our big 3 of Tom Green, Luke Smorey, and Jordan Dandridge are all playing really well. And I think we're hard to defend because of those 3 guys. You know, Chad Livingston had a touchdown catch this week, and I think he's going to continue to step up. And then we've got a couple other guys that you know, I think can make plays for us that got some time this week, you know, late in the second half there. And I think our wide receiving corps is doing a really nice job. And then, of course, Michael's getting him the ball, and the O-line's doing a nice job of keeping him clean. So really happy with where our pass game is right now. We still got a lot of work to do in the running game, and part of that is what defenses are doing to us. They're stacking the box and not letting us run, and, you know, that obviously opens up the pass. So we've got a lot of work to do, but I like where we're at so far.
And on the other side of the ball, the defense coach had a couple takeaways and really imposed the will early on in that game. And really never thought Cheney was going to, you know, do anything in that game, because, like I said, the pressure that your defensive front brought, and then, you know, that helped get a couple turnovers in the first half and basically shut them down the whole game.
Yeah, I thought our defense played a lot better in a lot cleaner game. I think if you talk to our defensive players and our defensive coaches a week ago, we had some alignment issues. And part of that was what Ohio Dominican was doing. But we got lined up. We communicated well. We tackled well for the most part. You know, we were able to get some turnovers. It's kind of what we're built on, is bring pressure. And Cheney did a nice job. They stuck with the 3-step passing game most of the afternoon. but we still got pressure. We still got there and forced some quick throws. Had a big hit for a fumble recovery. Had a couple interceptions, and that's kind of who we are: is bring pressure and try and put the quarterback in some tough situations. And I thought we played a much better game defensively this week.
Well, we had a couple of new people on our crew this week who didn't do the first game, and they were at halftime. They were like, that defensive line and the front seven were just outstanding. I'm like, and you kind of get a little taken for granted seeing how the team's been the last 2 years, but yeah, they really did take control of that game.
Yeah, first and foremost, we stopped the run. That's kind of who we are and what we're built on. We stop the run and then try to apply our pressure game. But our front seven is playing really well. I thought Justin Baker played really well. Malik Akins at the nose, and really our front seven in particular, I thought all those guys played really well. And then we played well on the back end. It was a solid team defensive effort on Saturday.
And special teams didn't really have any dramatic plays that they had the week before with the game-winning field goal, but another solid performance on kicking, special teams, and punt coverage, kickoff coverage.
Yeah, I was really pleased with our kickoff coverage this week. I think Coach Wilson did a great job this week of getting those guys to understand who we are on kickoff, and thought that really improved. We chart 4 special teams things each week. Kick cover, punt, return game, and explosives, and we won 3 out of 4, and the only one that we tied was points. We made field goals and extra points. We were 10 for 10, they were 2 for 2, and we can live with that. So we won 3 out of 4 of those categories, and we tied the other one, so that tells you we had a pretty good day on special teams.
And when you do that on all facets of the ball, you're going to get the W. So let's take a look back at this past weekend's win on a beautiful family day afternoon. And then after the commercial break, you'll see highlights of last year's game against this upcoming week's opponent, the Millersville Marauders. So stick right here. You're watching the Gary Dunn Show right here on CUTV.
Looking to throw. Moving in that pocket. It looks like he's going to step up, throw the ball right into the corner of the end zone. Luke Smorey, a touchdown on a option. This time it goes over to Brandon French, and the ball is out. California will receive the ball, excuse me. Said it a few times as number 29. That will be Cameron Tarver. Here, a pass right over the middle of the field, right into the breadbasket of Jordan Dangerous, getting on the board yet again. As Keir still in that shotgun set, fakes a give to Jalen Bell, and a wide open Luke Smorey. And just like that, bang, bang, touchdown. For Cheney, looks to throw, trying to do a little bit of a fade route, and California right there, a big interception. Michael Keir now looking over the area of Tom Green. Tom Green hauls it in for a touchdown just like that. We were talking 2 plays. Driving yet again, as this time it's going to be a pass right over to Tom Green. Go in this game as a touchdown pass right there to Chad Livingston from Brian, also Brooks. And Mitchell now trying to find some space for himself and finds pay dirt. Patient running is the name of the game.
Vulcan football is back. August 31st versus Ohio Dominican. September 9th versus Cheney. September 16th at Millersville. September 23rd versus Seton Hill. September 30th at Slippery Rock. October 14th versus Clarion. October 21st at Gannon. October 28th versus Mercyhurst. November 4th at Edinburgh. November 11th at East Stroudsburg. Catch all the action live with your home of the Vulcans. CUTV Sports 1 on YouTube and radio on 91.9 FM WCAL.
Dylan, what's wrong, man?
I just don't know how my family back home in Buchanan, West Virginia can watch our stuff up here.
They can follow us on Twitter, or they can like us on Facebook.
That's awesome. What about our sports? How can they watch that?
They could watch it live right on our YouTube channel.
Awesome, man. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Do you want information on the 2017 Vulcan football team? Look no further than the Gary Dunn Show.
I was really proud of our efforts, especially from our senior class that had been through a lot, and for those guys to walk out of here with the PSAC championship.
Coach looks back on last week's game and looks ahead to the upcoming opponent.
We're really starting over and trying to build that foundation for the 2017 season.
Don't miss Vulcan highlights, PSAC standings, schedules, and much, much more. Live Vulcan football all season long on CUTV Sports 1, your home for California Vulcans football.
High snap, but J.J. Page handles it, and there was penetration in there. And they just throw it up right to Aaron Terry, and he's going to take this one back. And there's some blocking downfield, and there is. He's running down the right sideline, and he's going to take it one man to beat. Nick Grissom in the backfield yet again. He's going to grab it and just run into the end zone untouched. Nick Grissom now putting the Vulcans on the board. Chip shot here for William Brazil as he gets it up and puts it through, making the score now 10-0 in favor of California. As Page now looks to throw, and pass was broken up at Jawan Turner, a sack. That's going to be a fumble, and he's going to bring it into the touchdown. So another crazy play from California. Here, Redding looking to his left yet again. Here staying in the pocket. Gary Brown wide open, just losing a defender there and getting into the end zone. And it looks like it's going to go right over to Gary Brown as he receives it about the 2-yard line. So making his way right up the center of the field, getting a lane, finding space now. One man to beat, cuts over and just getting away from his defender, and he's going to bring this back for a touchdown for California. What a way to open up this second half. Now Millersville just trying to put something on the board here. A big hit opens up a great hole, and the ball is out, and California is going to pick it up, and that is number 32 for California. That is going to be Todd Coles Jr., defensive back, bringing up another touchdown. And Michael Keir right over to Gary Brown, 1 foot in, and that is going to result in a touchdown. And the kick is good now, extending their lead 48-0. William Brazil getting on the board yet again now for the California Vulcans. So we have Jalen Bell now in the backfield. He's going to run it in just like that, extending the lead even more. And now he's handing it out, and it is going to be into the touchdown for California.
And welcome back to the Gary Dunn Show. What you just saw was last year's early season win against the Millersville Marauders. Coach, team put up a complete game last year against Millersville with 61 points. But Millersville's a different team this year. They're doing some work this year. As we'll see in the scoreboard and standings later, they had a high-scoring shootout win in Greensburg this past week against Seton Hill, and they're a different team than the team you faced 360-some-odd days ago.
Absolutely. Doing a nice job. I think they're 1-1 on the season, had a big win, like you said, this past weekend at Seton Hill. Offensively, very explosive, averaging over 400 yards of total offense. Balanced offense, similar to us. I think they're averaging 120 on running the football, and then doing a nice job. They got a new quarterback that's doing a really, really nice job. Very similar offensively to Ohio Dominican. So, going to create some problems for us. Defensively, they're an even front team, but like to bring a lot of pressure. Me and Coach Salisbury were just meeting a few minutes ago thinking, wow, we haven't seen a team that plays this much man coverage and this much zero in a long time. So we're going to have to play assignment football on both sides of the ball this week. Much better ball club than a year ago. They're a little bit older. They've got a really, really good Mike linebacker that kind of leads their defense. I believe he was the defensive player of the week this week in the league in the East. And, we've got a big test for us on the road. We got to be ready to go.
Yeah, after the game on Saturday, a couple of us were watching a little bit of the Seton Hill Millersville game, and we kind of looked at each other like, this doesn't look like the same Millersville team that we played. And that's good, because that's good for the league to have, quality all throughout the league, because that makes, iron sharpens iron, as they say.
Yeah, and, I think they're a year older, more mature, and got some really, really nice players. Offensively, like I said, they're doing a really nice job. Put, I think, 48 points, and we'll see it here in a minute, put a bunch of points on the board, and defensively, bring a lot of pressure and try and cause havoc for you. And they're a good ball club. I think they're going to win a lot of games this year.
And this weekend is going to be the first road game that your team has had this year in 2017. That kind of leads us into our Twitter question this week. How does a long away trip affect the team? And that can mean either travel, practice schedule, bus times, taping times, all kinds of things.
It's interesting when you go on the road because there's a lot of unknowns. Traffic. Everybody knows in Pennsylvania this time of year, everywhere you go, you see orange barrels. So, a lot of unknowns. We talk to our guys about, hey, let's relax, let's enjoy the trip. We'll get some movies on the way out, watch some movies. We'll have a nice dinner in a hotel. I tell our guys that we want to relax. And then when we step off the bus at the opposing stadium on Saturday morning, then it's time to lock in. I think sometimes it's good to get away from home. Our guys, we've got a mature, older bunch that I think will travel well. Sometimes it's good to get them out of here. I know we're excited to go out. We've got some alumni coming out on the road. I've heard from 5 or 6 guys, some of my former teammates that live out in that area that are going to come. So if you're watching this from the Millersville or Philadelphia area and you want to come over and join us, we've got some alumni coming out. So, we just got to be mature enough to handle the travel, and when things come up, deal with them as they come, whether it be traffic or whatever it is. So we're looking forward to it.
And we talked a little bit off camera, it's, your team has been hitting each other and hitting other team in the same location for about 8 weeks now. So that's got to be, refreshing and a little bit of a jolt to the team just to get another backdrop to play under.
Yeah, I think our last 4 games last year were at home, and then start with 2 on the road. I'm going to have to remind our guys how we travel. It's we haven't been on the road in a long time, but we're looking forward to it. We talk to our guys that every week's a challenge, and put the distractions away. It's about California preparing and California playing good, clean football, and I'm hoping our guys will do that this week.
And Millersville was one of those mysterious places in the PSAC East that, historically, for whatever reason, California and Millersville just haven't played that many times. I think it's been less than 10 times in all of history. And, I've been doing this for 20-some-odd years, and Millersville's the last place that I've been to for football. So it's just one of those weird, our fans are like, where is Millersville? It's outside of Harrisburg, Lancaster area. And, hope to see you. Yeah. A lot of red and black.
Milestone for you, cross another one off the list. I've never been to Millersville either. So, it's interesting for our guys to go and see different atmospheres and different campuses, and it's going to be a good trip.
And that game is this Saturday, 1 o'clock from Millersville. And I'm not going to try right now and pronounce the name of the stadium because there's a lot of consonants. And as our Anthony, who's our director, is from Millersville, knows the name. So we'll get the name on Saturday. He can pronounce it. But this Saturday, if you can't make the trip, CUTV and WCAO have you covered. 1 o'clock will be the live broadcast on WCAO, and also CUTV will have the live feed on our CUTV Sports 1 feed. And if the easiest way, because people were asking me on Saturday, go to CUTV Sports 1 on YouTube, subscribe, and if you're a subscriber, as soon as we go live, you'll get the notification. You can watch the game, and you'll probably get about 4 or 5 notifications because I try and test the feed as much as I can. There you see the media information for this Saturday. So, like I said, there's no substitution for seeing the game live because it's going to be a great I think it's another great weather day, and let's keep it rolling.
Let's keep it going. Excited to get out there and get this one kicked off.
And before we can turn our attention solely to Saturday, let's take a look back this past weekend at the scores in the PSAC so everyone knows what is going on. See, of course, California Cheney. We talked about that. Kutztown and Mercyhurst, a tight one up on the shores of Lake Erie. Kutztown getting the win 21-16. Shippensburg and Gannon in a shootout. Another one in Lake Erie, about 8 miles away from one another, 41-33. And then Edinboro getting a win at home over Lock Haven, 23. All these games were played in the western part of the state this week as we move on to the other 4 scores from the PSAC. Bloomsburg getting by Clarion 29-20. And there's a game we talked about, Millersville and Seton Hill 45-30. And that was a game that was pretty close until late in the ball game, until Millersville came through with a couple big drives late in the game.
Yeah, a lot of points in that game. They were, Seton Hill was up and Millersville kept plugging away and find a way to win it, which good teams do. The Indiana East Stroudsburg score, Indiana, again, putting a lot of points up, and then another shootout, Slippery Rock and Westchester. Kind of interesting to see the West and the East, I think, split 4-4. The West won 4 and the East won 4, so pretty balanced.
Yeah, and that's, that's what you want to see. Both sides of the conference playing well because, as I said before, it's a good quote, iron sharpens iron. And after we have those scores, we can take a look at the very early PSAC standings in the East and West. And, of course, none of the teams have played Divisional games, see California, Edinburgh, IUP, and Slippery Rock all 2-0. Then Gannon, they're 1-1. Clarion, Mercier, Seton Hill 0-2. But a lot of football left. And as we go over the PSAC East, we'll see the standings. Shippensburg is the lone undefeated team, and then Bloomsburg, Cheney, East Stroudsburg, Kutztown, Millersville, and Westchester 1-1, and Lock Haven at 0-2. So 4-4 last week, and balanced across the board. I mean, not a couple teams undefeated, a whole bunch 500, and a couple teams 0-2, and that's across the country. The PSAC is a very competitive league.
Absolutely. Every week, everybody can beat everybody, and you got to show up and play your best, and prepare your best that week versus that opponent. So interesting to see the crossover games this week. I think the East and the West go at it again. So, which is great about this league. I think it's a special league where you get these 2 weeks of crossover games, and then you get another one the last week of the year. It's a special league where you better pack a lunch and bring your hard hat every week, because it's going to be a battle.
Yeah, I tell my friends who they'll watch, we'll watch all kinds of games. They'll keep tabs of our games and stuff like that. And I tell them a lot of times it's a lot more fun watching the scores coming from the PSAC than the Big 12 or SEC, because you just never know week to week. It's just, I mean, sometimes in those big conferences you have a couple teams that are on the top, and you know what's going to happen against some other teams, but you truly never know in the PSAC.
It's funny, we've got a big supporter down in Atlanta, Georgia that we've talked about before, and he watches almost every game he can watch. So after the game on Saturday, I talked to him about a bunch of the games, talking about the Indiana East Stroudsburg game. He was watching the Slippery Rock Westchester game. Of course, he watched our game, and appreciates you guys and the coverage you give us. So it's it is fun watching these regional rivalries and having an interest in the entire league.
And now the way technology is, you're able to watch more and more games. I believe, keep my fingers crossed that our issues in the first week have been 99% solved. So we're looking forward to a great season of live Vulcan athletics coming up. We have 2 more graphics, Coach, if you want to check your phone. We got 1 graphic we want to check. Don't even look up. It's the national poll that came out. No change in the top 5, or top 6 actually. Northwest Missouri, Ferris State, Texas A&M, Shepherd, Cal, and IUP all hold their spots from last week, and then Sioux Falls, Minnesota State, LIU Post, and North Alabama. So you can get rid of that graphic right now. That's just out there, just information. I know Coach loves that graphic. And finally, we'll look at the schedule coming up this weekend in the PSAC. Another weekend of crossover. All the games will be in the East except the Cheney IUP game. Cheney will be traveling to IUP. So IUP starting the season with 3 home games. That's not Dinnenborough, that's Edinburgh. I'm always good for 1 graphic misspelled a show. Both of those games will be at noon. Then you have a 12:05 kickoff, Seton Hill at Kutztown. Then Clarion, our game, the 1 o'clock games, Gannon at Bloomsburg. Lock Haven is Slippery Rock, and Mercer City, Stroudsburg. So an entire day of football in the PSAC across the state. So if you can't find a game on there that you like, then you may want to read a book. Coach, other than our game, what was probably the one, if you're a fan, that you want to tell the fans to keep an eye on Saturday? Yeah,
that Westchester game is going to be a good game. They all really are. I think the Slippery Rock game as well is going to be one to watch. I'm anxious to watch all of them. Right? We get back into the office, we kind of get on film and kind of look at scores and watch a little bit of all of our opponents. Preparing for one, but kind of looking ahead to all of them. Just going to be a fun week in the PSAC.
And this has got to be. We have a few, like 2 more minutes left, but this has to be good now that you're finally in the week-to-week grind. I know the first week, had the game on Thursday, so it's a shorter week to begin with, and then a longer week coming in. So it's got to be nice for you, your staff, and your team to get in that, Monday's this day, Tuesday's this, Wednesday this. There's none of those weird Thursday or Friday or weird dates. It's all Saturdays from here on out.
Absolutely. It's great to be on a schedule, because this is the first week we've really been on the schedule. Obviously, last Monday we had the holiday, so we switched up a little bit and moved practice up because we didn't have class. This is really the first week that we're on a schedule that allows our guys to kind of prepare and plan for their academics, because they do more than just play football. So now that they have their schedule set and they're going to get their study table hours in, they're going to have their time that they know they're off. It's really good. We had great meetings yesterday. We had great preparation yesterday. I think now that we're into a routine and we understand what our schedule is each week, it's really going to help us. And I think our freshmen are still spinning a little bit. They're not sure where they're going, what time they got to be anywhere. So it's nice to get those guys onto a weekly schedule so they kind of understand how to balance everything in their lives that they have to do, from football to academics to weights to study table to having some social time, it's big for them.
Yeah, and I think some fans don't really appreciate or recognize just how much it is. It's not just football; it's classes, it's the social aspect. I mean, because everyone's in college, it's a great time to be alive. So you gotta. There's just a lot to take in.
Yeah, we want our guys to enjoy it. We want them to enjoy everything that we do, and when we're at football, we're going to work hard, but I want them to be college students and enjoy it here, and I think they do. But now, that the schedule's kind of mapped out for them, they understand. The freshmen understand a little bit better. They've been lost for a couple weeks.
Well, Coach, thanks a lot for being here. It's time flies when we're talking football. And as we said, we've been talking about before, Millersville this Saturday, 1 o'clock. Like I said, come out, make the drive. It's a beautiful time. Like Coach said, you'll see a lot of orange barrels on the turnpike. And just come into Millersville, Pennsylvania. But if you can't make the trip, like we said before, CUTV and WCA will have you covered. The live game on WCA will be at 1 o'clock, preceded by this show. So if you're listening to this on the radio on Saturday, kickoff will be in a few minutes. And, watch us, subscribe on CUTV Sports 1 to get the notifications and watch live. So, Coach, thanks again for being here, and good luck, safe travels, and we'll see you in Millersville on Saturday.
Yeah, appreciate you guys making the road trip with us. We're excited. I was at the marching band practice yesterday. They said they couldn't make this trip. I told them I didn't agree with that. We needed to have them there. But we're going to have some alumni in the stands. I'm looking forward to seeing some of my teammates that I haven't seen for a while that have reached out and are going to come to the game. And so it's going to be a nice trip, and hopefully we can take care of business.
And we'll hopefully be talking here next week with smiles on our face and another blue sky over top of us on Saturday and Tuesday. So for Coach Dunn, I'm Gary Smith. You've been watching The Gary Dunn Show right here on CUTV.